Okay, let's start with gold, and gold prices gained for the second day in a row as Asian markets traded under pressure. Investors dumped equities to pick up the yellow metal, helping it gain strength. Gold jumped more than 1% to hit a one-week high, rallying as high as $1,410, but the gains for the yellow metal was capped on the worries that the US Federal Reserve may scale back its stimulus. The metal has corrected almost 5% this month. Okay, and moving on to crude. Crude oil prices, on the other hand, clocked in losses and are on track for a third straight month of decline. A weak global demand outlook faced with abundant supplies from the US, as per reports, weighed in on the prices. The report showed a surprise gain in US crude and gasoline stockpiles. Dollar weakening failed to bring in any respite in the market either, and all eyes are now on the crucial OPEC meet tomorrow to see whether the target of 30 million barrels per day will be maintained. Okay, now time on the show to get in our two guests. Joining us on the show is Vijay Bhamwani. He's the author and CEO of bsplindia.com, and Shamik Bose, Executive Director of Commodities and Currency at Microsec Commerce, to talk about their top commodity bets. Okay, let's start with Vijay, you at this point of time. You know, if you're looking at gold at this point of time, clearly above the 1400 mark, that's a psychological mark, and it has corrected all the way from 1800. How do you see gold moving now?
Darshan, good evening. This is a pullback rally underway in both gold and silver, and as far as levels are concerned, we are now trading slightly below the 1400 level, which is a psychological threshold that the bulls need to overcome. Like we spoke about yesterday, there is a pullback rally. You're seeing silver also trading above 44,000 levels for some part of the day, and what we need to see is one or two trading sessions of closing above the 1400 mark on the overseas exchanges, and 26,750 on the domestic MCX. Silver needs to close above 44,250 odd levels to bring back the momentum traders on track. And at this point in time, I would still term it as a technical pullback rally, of course.
Shamik, are you also on the same page with regard to gold? Do you see a technical pullback, or are you more of do you have a more bullish stance on the yellow metal?
Well, Darshan, the way I see it, it's extremely bullish in terms of fundamentals. Physical demand is so strong. China's imports for the first quarter are more than 370 tons, which is massive. 50% jump, 1,000 tons a year. Demand for mint coins in North America, demand for gold bars across the world, emerging markets especially, is so strong after this fall. Now, yes, it is a technical pullback rally after falling to 1320, but if you notice, the market has struggled around $1,400 and it has found some residual support around 1350. So unless the daily close or the weekly close happens above 1415, 1420 areas, I don't think the technical pullback rally I mean, it is happening, but it doesn't seem to have legs and could get sold into. And so far the market looks technically very weak, and the futures look completely disconnected from physical demand. But according to your question, fundamentally I see strong buying, and eventually this will filter too on the prices, because as of now there's a disconnect worldwide between futures weakness vis-a-vis physical buying demand. And it seems to me as if the common person, the layman around the world, and households or the laywomen seem to know more about what they want to do with their gold and silver investment purchases than the so-called professionals. And we see a very tight technical range in the futures market, but on the whole not a lot of traction. But in the physical market, huge amount of action, very strong premiums, and at some point in time, Darshan, if this starts filtering through the futures prices, then the pullback.
Okay, Vijay, what about crude? You know, if you're looking at crude at this point of time, pretty much at 4-week lows. At this point of time, you know, there's this big OPEC meet that is happening tomorrow, expectation whether the target of 30 million tons will be changed. What kind of outlook do you have as far as crude is concerned?
Darshan, I think the 5400 levels on crude is a very critical resistance, and it's proving to be a very, very strong level which the bulls will need to overcome if crude is to have a sustained upthrust. My guess is the closer it gets to 5,350 odd levels, the more you will see selling pressure emerge at higher levels. And I don't have a sense of comfort buying crude at this point in time, nor natural gas for that matter. So I would merely want to sit on the sidelines and wait for the OPEC announcement, which I do suspect may not really change the scenario all that much.
Shami, coming to base metals, if you're looking at copper at this point of time, in the past 2 weeks, it has moved. Copper has moved from levels of almost 370 to 415 currently. More upside seen on copper at this point of time?
Hard to see, because you see in the summer months, metals, crude, they tend to be weaker. And some of the upside, Darshan, I suspect, was because of the weakness in money is cheap, and various currencies were soft, so metals were looking relatively more attractive, although China was cooling off, and a lot of the industrial economies are still struggling with a variety of, demand and financial factors. As far as copper goes specifically, it's found support around 6,700, 6,800 repeatedly, and resistance around 7,400. Unless you go over that hump and decisively close above 7,400 for a couple of weeks and not just days, I don't think you'll see another leg of buying coming in. At the same time, if you see the fundamentals, Darshan, that copper's primary demand comes from new construction, and a lot of this has been driven by emerging markets and especially Chinese demand, and these are temporizing of late as new supplies have come in. That is why I see, looking at the physical market, looking at the premium discount, that if you look at the trade, not the financial trade, not people buying copper for yield or using copper as collateral as they're doing in China, but people who are buying copper for fundamental trading reasons, they will always buy discount and sell premiums. And right now, looking at the fundamentals, I think copper is beginning to get into a premium range where it will be sold into, especially in the summer months. But I've been wrong about this, because currency weakness will bring in another leg up. So we'll have to wait and watch, but as of now, I think 7,400 is a very, very strong resistance area.
Okay, Vijay, what about lead? In the past, I think 1 week to 10 days, a 10% move has already come in. Do you think that, is the time for correction in lead at this point of time?
Darshan, corrections are likely to remain brief, and in the non-ferrous metal space, there is traction building up on the upside. If you see aluminium, it's looking strong. Lead is looking strong. Zinc is showing signs of some vibration with bullish activity picking up speed. And the expiry of the May month futures is resulting in a bump up on the charts because of the cost of carry consideration. So my guess is there is still upside hope in not only lead, which is leading the way up. I had talked about 120.5, and I'm pleasantly surprised to see the price at least almost a rupee higher than that level. So which brings me to the next level, which is close to around 122.5 to maybe 123 on lead.
Okay, Vijay, two commodities like your view on. First of all is natural gas, and you follow that very closely. How do you see natural gas going ahead? And because of this entire rally on the precious metal space, even silver is moving up significantly. How do you play these two?
Silver and gold both are metals that I have been recommending staying away from in the future space. As far as silver is concerned, I've been recommending buying in staggered lots of 10% of capital allocation every time the metal falls by 2,000 to 2,500. The last purchase being 42,000, and then the 40,000 purchase did not really materialize. Relatively, comparing silver with gold, I'm positively biased towards silver in the delivery space, and should silver stay above 44,000 for this entire remaining part of the week, my guess is there can be a relief rally coming in silver, and the bears getting squeezed out will add to the upward momentum. At this point in time, I still think it's a technical pullback, but it is good enough in case follow-up buying and short covering does follow through. It is good enough for another 2,000 rupees.